Bhubneshwaram, as resplendent sun. It's the start of a bright new day. Time to rise, time to shine, Lord divine. Time to lead us along life's way. Awake, Lord of Buddha party. Awake, O Lord, over all mankind. Awake, O Lord of compassion, that the world good fortune may find.
India has long been known for its rich spiritual heritage. Many ancient scriptures have originated there. The sage Veda Vyasa divided these scriptures into three main groups: 4 Vedas, 108 Upanishads, and 18 Puranas. The largest Purana is the Skanda Purana, which expounds the teachings and worship of Shiva. The author is Kartikeyan, the son of Shiva. The name Skanda refers to Kartikeyan as the chief of the army of Devas. A major portion of the Skanda Purana describes holy places of pilgrimage. The holiest place described is a secret cave in India called Patal Bhuvaneshwar. According to the Skanda Purana, this cave is the abode of Shiva. All of the gods go there regularly to worship him, primarily by doing pujas to Shiva lingams. A Shiva lingam is an egg-shaped object which represents God as the formless creation which has no beginning or end. This Purana also states that the many Shiva lingams throughout India are all present in Patal Bhuvaneshwar. By remembering, by visiting, and especially by doing pujas in the Patal Bhuvaneshwar, one gains tremendous spiritual benefits. For example, according to Vyasa, by visiting Patal Bhuvaneshwar, the pilgrim attains the fruits that are 10 million times that of going to Benares, or 1,000 times that of going to Kedarnath. The Skanda Purana describes the location of this cave as being between the two rivers Ramganga and Saryu. The Skanda Purana also names the hill where the cave is located. It is called Darugiri. Today, under the guidance and encouragement of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba, knowledge of Patal Bhuvaneshwar is being revived. Through direct conversations, visions, dreams, and materializations of Vibhuti, Sai Baba is directing a number of devotees to participate in this rediscovery. Dr. Gopal Karnavar is the author of Bhagavan Satya Sai and Patal Bhuvaneshwar, published in November 1994. In his book, Dr. Karnavar translated the sections of the Skanda Purana which pertain to Patal Bhuvaneshwar.
In 1991, I had been to the Himalayas and stayed in Swami's ashram for a couple of days. And there I met the person in charge of the ashram, and he talked to me about the cave complex called Patal Bhuvaneshwar. And he has mentioned that this is given in Skanda Puran. So I was interested in Puranic literature, so I asked him for a copy of that particular chapter. Then I translated that chapter into Malayalam. Then I thought I would make a small book out of it. So I wrote a small book in Malayalam, and in 1994, when I was called to Haridwar to attend a ceremony of the Shirdi Baba's lifestyle statue installation, I took a few copies of this book, and the gentleman whom I met in Rishikesh was also there. And surprisingly, we saw the book on which my name was written was covered with vibhuti. Then on the page, Valkal was written, also a lot of vibhuti, indirectly telling that the Swami has blessed the book. In Skanda Puran, it's mentioned that the rediscovery of this cave complex would be done by a person known as Valkal. And Valkal means one who wears an attire made of bark of the tree, or it could be a soldier. So this has come true in 1989, when one army major general went into the cave and brought it to the notice of the people. As I have come across Patal Bhuvaneshwar and related subjects, I feel very much that Major General Taylor, who has rediscovered this complex, is the Valkal.
Major General K.A. Taylor was a career military officer in the Indian Army for 35 years. Even as an officer in the Army, General Taylor pursued spiritual practices. In 1975, a miracle occurred which caused him to become a devotee of Satya Sai Baba.
I was serving at an altitude of 12,000 feet above mean sea level. One of my drivers with his vehicle went down the hill, and he was brought up, killed. He was taken to the hospital and declared dead. I prayed to Baba that he should be alive. After 15 minutes or so, I got a call from the hospital. The driver was alive. And thereafter, of course, it was total surrender to Baba. Interestingly, I got the confirmation of this incident from a Sevadal volunteer after 11 years. He told me that in 75 itself, Baba had told them that one of the army officers requested that his driver should be brought to life, who had met with an accident in the hills, and Baba brought him to life once again.
In 1986, General Taylor received a promotion to the rank of Major General, and when he went for Sai Baba's blessings, he was called for a private interview.
I was promoted to the rank of Major General in 1986. I went to Swami for his blessings, and he called me in for interview. he put on my ranks here and he blessed me. He talked about something else, and towards the end of the interview, he told me that you are going to get a very big responsibility. And he said that he'll be always with me and I should not worry about at that time. The time passed, and whenever I used to get a very big military responsibility, I used to think perhaps this may be the responsibility that Swami was talking about. But later, of course, it was revealed that it was a different type of responsibility, and that is a spiritual responsibility rather than anything else.
In 1989, General Taylor had a dream in which Sai Baba took him to a hillside temple in the Himalayas and showed him a footpath and hill and said, "You go there."
Sometime in the middle of 89, I had a dream in which I was standing over here and Baba was standing next to me, just next to this temple over here. He pointed out a footpath going along that way. And also that hill over there. And he said, "You go there." Next morning when I got up, I told my wife about this dream. I told her that perhaps Baba wants me to do tapasya in the hills, and forgot about this dream. Later on, after some time, by chance, my formation commander told me that there is a good place, religious place around here, a cave. You might like to go and have a look at it. So therefore, I with my wife, again we came here. When we came, I told my wife, I remembered my dream and said that this is the place exactly where we were standing, myself and Baba, and this was the footpath that was indicated to me by Baba, and the hill over there. And then, of course, we went inside. We had not gone to Patal Bhuvaneshwar as yet. This was just a dream. Of course, I had not realized at that time what was the purpose of this dream and why Baba wanted me to go there.
Major General Taylor has rediscovered this in 1989. At that time, this was a very obscure cave complex. He has, with the help of his army personnel, has cleaned up the cave complex, installed a generator which could supply sufficient electricity to illuminate major important points within the cave complex without damaging any of the natural settings there. Then he has built a small guest house to accommodate the visiting devotees. Then he has, with the help of the state government, laid up a fairly good motorable road very close to the complex, and then a path about 500 meters he has done pure concreting. So access by car and then by foot is made very possible, and an overnight stay in the guest house is also provided, and this has led to the visit of large number of devotees from India and outside India.
18 generations of a local family of pujaris have taken care of the village temples and Patal Bhuvaneshwar. However, not many people have visited the cave because local superstitions held that once one entered the cave, they would not come out.
Vande jagatah karanam, vande kannadabhushanam mrugadharam, vande pasunam patim, vande surya sashankavah.
There are a surprisingly large number of representations of religious scenes found in Patal Bhuvaneshwar.
They are not the rock formations, but the deities, actual deities becoming stone. Now, when you worship this, or at the time of puja, sometimes if you are given divine eyes, you can see them actually alive, and therefore they are there every time, and with proper vision you can see them.
In Patal Bhuvaneshwar, after climbing into the cave, the first form encountered is that of the Sheshnag, or cobra, who is protecting this abode of Shiva.
This is Sheshnag's hood. There are seven hoods.
And it's not as if, as I thought at the time, we'd just come to a cave, we'd walk inside, and there'd be a nice big cavern, we'd look around. But it meant going, I would imagine, about 40 feet down, climbing some places if there were little stairs there, other places squeezing between rocks, and eventually you get down into the bottom where you can walk around. And then you can look around, you can see the hood of the cobra. You can see up within that hood even the poison sac that is there. And one of the beautiful things, the backbone of Nag, the serpent. And you can walk along that backbone in the bottom of the cave.
Two nights prior to my arrival here, as I slept off on my bed in one of the places in these Himalayas only, I felt strong vibrations passing through my complete body, and the epicenter of that vibration, if we may say so, lay at the base of my spine, and it was moving up with great intensity. I felt as if an earthquake has come. Well, I cannot say that this is what I felt at the time of the experience, but this is all what I recollect. And soon, with these vibrations, I felt a stream of very bright light with the effulgence of sun, rising up my spine and coming out of the apex of my head and expanding over my own head in the form of a multi-headed serpent. I haven't really read much into the scriptures, nor did I have any belief in anything called the Sheshnag or anything. I thought they were all creatures of the myth. Later on, when I landed up here, I found that very form of light which had come out of my spine and expanded its hood over my head in the form of a petrified stone here, the Sheshnag. And that is what was explained to me, that this is the Sheshnag. And I felt that yes, it is just not a mere coincidence, it has some relevance. It can't be a hearsay as well, because I truly experienced it, I lived through it, and in the morning I really did ask my neighbors if there was an earthquake on. And I had been getting those feelings of vibration in the body for a long time. But that day I could really feel that light coming out, expanding on the top of my head in the form of a luminous multi-headed snake.
Another scene found in the cave comes from the story where Shiva cuts off Ganesha's head during a fight. To keep Ganesha's body alive during the search for a new head, a lotus flower dripped life-sustaining nectar into his body. In Patal Bhuvaneshwar, the lotus can be seen dripping water into the Ganesh lingam.
This is the Ashtadal Kamal, or the lotus with which the headless body of Lord Ganesha was maintained. This is the idol of Lord Ganesha called Snigdha Ganesh. Now here we see the lotus feet of the Lord. These are his legs, these are the knees. He's sitting in a crouched position. The trunk is here, and this is the Lord when his head was chopped off by Lord Shiva, and at a later stage the head of an elephant was put in this place. This is the neck, and this is the complete Lord Ganesha.
Some people have actually had a vision of Ganesh while in the cave.
As General Taylor was continuing his puja, I was sitting eyes opened, and far ahead of me I was seeing a group of people walking in the forest in a line. They were wearing white dress with red waistband, and I could see the leader of the line as Lord Ganesha. And this group was coming towards Patal Bhuvaneshwar. And the next thing I saw was Lord Ganesha, golden in color, with all his characteristics, sitting in the lap of General Taylor, who was sitting opposite to me. And after a while I could see only Ganesh and not General Taylor. And his color was bright golden, and he remained there for a short while, not even a minute.
When I first saw Ganesh appear, and the golden Ganesh at that, and Lord Shiva, Nataraj, it was as if it was verifying the divinity of the cave to me. If it was saying to me, this trip has not been for nothing. You've come to a divine place. I had the feeling of being a pilgrim to God, that I'd been there to meet with God. They were the sort of feelings that I had in the cave.
The most impressive scene in the cave involves Lord Shiva and the Ganges River. The story has Bhagirath asking Mother Ganga to come to earth from heaven. Because the force of the Ganga water would be too great for earth, Shiva agreed to receive it in his matted hair and then allow it to pass onto a Shiva lingam where most of it would be absorbed. The remaining trickle of water would then become the start of the Ganges River on earth. In Patal Bhuvaneshwar, water flows from the top of Shiva's head through his matted hair. The water then drips onto a Shiva lingam. This particular lingam actually absorbs water, allowing only a smaller portion to trickle off.
Shiva's hair is huge. When you first come across it, and it's lit by lights that have been put up by General Taylor in specific places, just enough not to break the energy field, but to illuminate it. And it's like it's huge. It's higher than a house, and it falls. It's in stone, but it looks like you could run your fingers through it, and you can see the matting in it. And then, like, once that impact's hit you, and you think, this is what it is. And I got a sense of the power of Shiva simply by its immense size. But then you walk along a little further, and you begin to go around it, and underneath the hair there is, formed in the rock, untouched by man, is a small statuette of Lord, I can't remember, but beautifully formed with eyes and shoulders and guarding the hair. And then as you walk along around it, you get a sense that this is a god, a giant energy and in even physical presence. And it's breathtaking. And you just look up and you see the shine and the gleam and the little pieces of matting running through it, and it's like, wow. Words can't describe how it feels to see that. And then all the other things that are in the cave that have incredible symbolism. And not only that, I mean, when you're guided to, say, for example, the elephant with the 1,000 legs, and they're not just pieces of stone, they're leg-shaped. They're not just like stalagmites that you could say, oh yeah, that's pretty close. That's what they are. And then you turn and you see the head of the elephant and the curve of the trunk, all out of stone. The cobra's head, everything. But I think I think the sense of the hair is when it hit me that this was millions of years old of not mythology, truth. This is truth laid out in stone, and it's wonderful.
Experiences of Shiva are not confined to visions inside the cave. Jennifer Warren, a spiritual seeker, had a very vivid dream about Shiva even before entering the cave.
Night before, or the first night we arrived at Patal Bhuvaneshwar, it was about 2 in the morning, and I was dreaming about my mother. And then immediately after that, I saw the face of Shiva, Lord Shiva. And the face had these rounded features, these sort of almond eyes that you see in many sort of Indian statues. And around the face were these sort of ether-like white wisps coming around the face, almost like when you see the rays of the sun. It was like these ether rays that looked like little sort of almost snakes. And then the face changed, and it became closer up, and there was a sort of grayish, bluish tint to this etheric-like face, and it was a changing form. And my feelings about the dream were, it woke me up because it was so startling, and that's when I looked at my watch and I knew it was 2 o'clock. And I just remember being incredibly in awe about it, because I didn't expect to see such a thing. I mean, I come from a Western culture, and to just sort of see a Hindu god like that from within myself is an extraordinary experience, because it was so real. And it was so much bigger than life. And then the other interesting thing was, when I woke up in the morning, all I could do was cry because of the love.
Beyond the Shiva formation is the most important place of spiritual energy in the cave. It is the Patal Bhuvaneshwar Shiva Lingam. This very rare lingam has 3 different kinds of stones which depict the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. 800 years ago, Adi Shankar, one of the great religious leaders in India, placed a copper plate around this lingam to help preserve it. In this cave, 3 different abhisheks, or trickles of water, flow naturally for each of the 3 stones. Pujas done here are very powerful.
Gangodagam nirmalam cha sarvasaugandhya sanyutam pada prakshalanarthaya dattam me pratigrayatam Shri Samba Shivaya Namaha Padayo Padyam Samarpayami Argham Gandha Pushpakshatair Yuktam Argham Sampaditam Maya Grahana Bhagavan Shambho Prasanno Varado Bhava Shri Samba Shivaya Namastayor Argham Samarpayami Achman Om Karpurena Sugandhena Vasitam Swadu Shitalam Toyam Ajmani Artham Grahana Parameshwara Om Ishana Sarva Vidhananishwara Sarva Bhutanam Brahmadipati Brahmanodipati Brahma Shivo Me Astu Sada Shivom Om Swastina Indro Vratashravaha Swasti na puja vishwavedaha Swasti na staraksho arishto nemi Swasti no brahaspatir dadatu
We all came and the puja was about to start. Guruji gave us all a flower each. We all sat by the side of the Shivalinga and waited for the puja to start. I had gone into a meditation state. Guruji had just arrived but hadn't started the puja. In meditation, I was sitting, but didn't know what was happening. I had closed my eyes, but could hear the mantras very loudly. I was reciting them correctly. As I was reciting the mantras, I was able to see Shiva and Parvati arriving in miniature form before me. Very beautiful was Shiva. I cannot explain their beauty. They were very, very beautiful. I didn't know what the Guruji was doing. I kept looking at only Shiva's beauty. What a beauty in such a miniature form. Shiva was sitting on a deer skin. He had Rudraksha mala around his head and hair, and around his arms too. He had 3 or 4 Rudraksha malas around his neck too. He had the drums and the trident, everything, all in miniature form. And Parvati was fully pretty. She was having a red dot on the forehead, 3 or 4 necklaces around her neck, beautiful sari with red and gold border, jewels, and bracelets around her arms. She was very, very beautiful. Her beauty was beyond description for me. As I was watching, mantras became louder and louder. It seemed like it was coming from elsewhere. The puja was coming to an end. Even though Guruji called me 2 or 3 times, I didn't know. As I was watching, Shiva and Parvati blessed everyone present. They blessed everyone with their hands. When they blessed all of us, I prostrated before them and offered my prayers at their feet. Guruji had concluded the puja. Even after the puja was finished, I was still looking at Shiva and Parvati. They were still there for nearly 1 hour, another half hour too. For nearly 1.5 hours. After that, after everything was over, Bhagwan Shiva and Parvati left.
So then during puja, when I was chanting mantras, So I felt that somebody is chanting the mantras before me, and prior to me, preceding me. He is starting the mantra, what I have to speak for that particular puja. So another experience in the same pujan on this auspicious occasion. So when I was chanting that Shiva Stotra, I heard some voices, ladies and gents of God and goddesses, along with me. And at that time I was chanting the Shiva Tandav Stotra. I felt that because it is so long, I felt that I will not be able to sing in the same rhythm up to last. And I was over-exhausted in the mid. But when I heard that some other voices are with me, along with me, then I look in above side or here and there. But the voices are there. I have no eyes to see that God and goddesses. So thus the same thing is written in Skand Puran, Manaskanda, that on this auspicious occasion of Triyodasi on Saturday, God and goddesses comes to this place for Shiv Pujan, and we confirmed that with their voices.
Well, there were several experiences that I had. As you'll recall, the first night that we went down into the cave and were shown around and had everything explained to us, and then pujas were performed. Pujas are not necessarily something I know a lot about, being a Westerner. However, when the main puja began, puja to Shiva, I had this urge come within me and actually began to chant, which confused me because it was in a language that I didn't understand. I had no idea of what it was that I was doing. And I tended to hold back a little and became nervous about it because there's always that feeling you're going to make a fool of yourself. And yet it was something that was happening naturally, but that I couldn't understand. A little later during the puja, when it was a meditation time, again something happened. A golden Ganesh appeared before me. And while I was observing this golden Ganesh, it faded, and then Lord Shiva himself was there, and that gradually changed into Nataraj, the dancing Shiva. And that was as plain as if I was sitting here watching it right now. And they are also unusual experiences for me. And I didn't know the full import of what I'd seen until I spoke and told about the story about it later on. That was for there, after coming out of the cave, which is a unique experience, a wonderful experience. And you can't help but feel highly elated by having been in there and with the experiences that occurred at the time. But the following morning, when we went down and pujas were performed again, during the puja I was asked to lead the bhajan Om Shivaya, which I did, but the more that I moved into the bhajan, the more my voice changed, the more my voice then started to falter and the tears started to flow. Until in the finish I just had to stop singing because the tears were just coming away from me and my voice wouldn't sing anymore. And it was like being immersed or the heart was full of God's love. So much that one only wanted just to sit there in silence and allow the tears to flow.
Not everyone has profound experiences in the cave. In fact, General Taylor did not have much happen in his first 10 trips to Patal Bhuvaneshwar.
I did not have any divine vision till 11th or 12th visit. I kept on going there because I felt a lot of spiritual energy in there. And to develop my spiritual ability is also to improve that place so that others can benefit of this place. I kept on going off and on.
As General Taylor continued to visit and improve the cave area, he began having dreams and visions in which Sai Baba taught him about the cave.
So I've had a number of dreams on Patal Bhuvaneshwar. Baba has told me quite a few things about Patal Bhuvaneshwar. In one of the dreams, Baba told me that many gods and goddesses are living in the cave, and they do puja to Shiva on their appointed days regularly. In another dream, he told me that Patal Bhuvaneshwar is heaven, nothing but heaven. He also said that all these leelas which are happening in Patal Bhuvaneshwar were being done by himself. He further said that a lot more people will be coming to this Patal Bhuvaneshwar in future and doing puja to Shiva. In fact, he said that you won't have place even to go in and stand in that area.
I kept thinking, what's this all about? Why is it happening to me? It was such a new experience. So I was really quite pleased to put it on paper to try and understand what it was all about. And then when I came down, having recorded it, almost knowing I wasn't recording it, I had interview with Swami. And I had, again, listening to my chatty inner voice, had presented a collaged cover, which is this rather tatty manuscript now, had sat up all one night again, typing it to present to Swami. When I first arrived the first day, he saw my roughly written notes, and in a book I held them up for blessing, and he said, without opening it, Patal Bhuvaneshwar, I will see. So I thought, well, I better get it in a form that I can offer God. So that was for the typing and for the collage. And then in the first interview I had, not long after arriving, he blessed it by signing it, as you can see. And I thought, well, that's done. And then I wasn't sure if I was to have it published. I began to wonder, well, he didn't actually say. So the next time I went into interview, a fortnight, 3 weeks later, I didn't take the book with me, but I said to him, Swami, do you want us to speak about Patal? Because the little group that I'd been amongst had discussed it with ourselves, and it's an experience of such spiritual magnitude that it really blew us away. And my 2 sons and I spent a lot of time crying, just out of the blue. We just, the tears had come, and it was as though we were trying to absorb the things that had happened to us on levels that were far beyond the intellect. So the next time I went in there, I thought, well, I've got a question. You know, Swami takes all your brains away and you just sit there and bliss. So I said, Swami, are we allowed to speak of Patal? And he said, yes. He said, people come from the head. They must learn devotion, speak about Patal Bhuvaneshwar. And then I said, do you want the journal published? And he said, yes, I will publish. And now, of course, I await God's will. And in his time, I'm sure the information will be available in the journal.
That's a good question, you see. When I first came to Baba, at my first visit, Swami took me in for an interview, and then he gave me a Rudraksha, the tear of Shiva, the eye of Shiva. And I didn't think much of it at that time, but he told me to place it in water each day and drink the water. Later, Swami sent me to Arunachala Shiva. and the teachings of Ramana Maharshi. Later again, Swami gave me a Shiva Lingam. And now he's taken me to the cave of Shiva, the abode of Shiva. So after we left Patal Bhuvaneshwar, we came down to Whitefield. Swami asked me if I'd speak to the students about some of my experiences. And so I took the opportunity to ask Swami if I should talk about Patal Bhuvaneshwar, and he said yes. And so I said, Swami, were the experiences I had there real experiences? And he said yes. I said, should I tell the students about that, Swami? And he said, yes, tell them. So I spoke about that on that particular day. But later still, I handed Swami a note asking him if the production of the video on Patal Bhuvaneshwar had his blessings, and if so, whether I should speak about my experiences on the video and about his confirmation of those experiences. And Swami said yes. So that was very good for me because everything was confirmed now. When these sort of experiences happen, one questions one's mind. So I just was very happy about that.
And I knew nothing about the cave. It was like storybook stuff up in the Himalayas. It didn't relate to me at all. And then I found myself, through the will of God, on the doorstep of these caves. And then the experience within them made me realize that it was part of my destiny to be there. And I feel quite sure that it's going to be the part of the destiny of many devotees of Satya Sai Baba, because first of all, they are sadhaks. They are serious seekers after truth. And once they come under Swami's direction, they want to go home. We all want to become, eventually to reach moksha, but before that, to have the realization that we are particles of God.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before, and I have traveled a lot, and I've seen many, many religious relics and been to many, many beautiful churches throughout Europe. And I have to say the naturalness of the cave and that there exists such an ancient place of worship that has documented legend behind it, if you will, and having been documented as to when it would be discovered now in this present day, gives you a sense of awe.
Ishwarama's resplendent sun, it's the start of a bright new day. Time to rise, time to shine, Lord divine. Time to lead us along life's way. Awake, Lord of Buddha party. Awake, O Lord, over all mankind. Awake, O Lord of compassion, that the world good fortune may find. On Chitravati's peaceful shore stands our heart's own mansion. We yearn to serve you, and we long for your holy darshan. Morning's begun, and o'er the world spreads the radiant sun. to sing your holy name with that sweet emotion, and taste the pure nectar which comes from our true devotion. Come, shower drops of blessings on us, we pray, gracious one. Sri Satya Sai Bhagavan, may your glory now dawn. We've brought to you colorful flowers with fragrance so sweet. Our dear Guru, our object now is to worship your feet. Your devotees are gathered into the place where we meet. Sri Satya Sai Bhagavan, may your glory now dawn. Among the seekers of the world, knowledge that you're here grew. From far and near, people are coming who long to see you. They are reciting Vedic mantras, knowing their value. Sri Satya Sai Bhagavan, may your glory now dawn. Throughout the earth, people of worth are now singing your name. They know your glory and the sweet story of why you came. Seekers of truth from every land are now singing your name. Sri Satya Sai Bhagavan, may your glory now dawn. Women demure as Mother Sita now sing in rapture. Like lotus blooms drawn to the light, their hearts are soft and pure. With garlands of sweet flowers, they will adorn your picture. Sri Satya Sai Bhagavan, may your glory now dawn. Whoever sings this waking chant sings it faithfully every day. Great peace to you the Lord will grant, and the wisdom for which we pray. Oh, all spirits auspicious divine teacher, O auspicious all-seeing eye, O auspicious Lord of party, O auspicious Sri Satya